Um,
That's true. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you also about, okay, so would you consider if you're not a political composer? I think like most of, like, we've had this conversation before here, the three of us. We don't consider ourselves as political composers either.
No.
But will you say that you're more of an aesthetical composer that focuses more on aesthetics?
Oh God, aesthetics. Wow, I would say aesthetics is a moot point these days.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in that case, I'm more
Mm-hmm.
political than aesthetics.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of like, how should I say it? There's some things you can't really say it with words. So like, I think I write. I mean, I write a lot of opera and stage works these days, and I wrote something called the Carmen Case, which is a reworking of Bizet's Carmen. Today, like you recontextualize. So basically, we kind of did the fifth act in a way. What happens after he killed Don Jose killed Carmen,
Mm-hmm.
and so everyone goes to court. So basically, that's what happened. Everyone went to court, and then there was testimony, and so it's kind of like recontextualizing all the libretto and all the recitative of what he's been saying. Because I mean, if you ask any Tom, Dick, and Harry, like who's Carmen, they'll be like, oh yeah, she's like this slut, right? Or like there's all this very derogatory um image we have of Carmen. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how well you guys know the opera. I
Mm-hmm.
I thought I
I've
knew
seen the opera before.
Carmen. Yeah, yeah, I thought I knew Carmen very, very well. And then I went through all 647 pages of it, and I realized how violent actually Don Jose is.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, because she said no to him like a million times, and he just insists. And
Hmm.
it's never that evident, because if you think about it, his aria La fleur que tu m'avais jetée, it's so beautiful, right? And all these wonderful tenors, they sing that, and you go like, wow, music's so great. And then at the end we applaud the fact that she get killed. We just saw someone get killed on stage, and all these things. And I have a problem with it as a woman living in 2026. I have a huge problem with all of this. I mean, you watch Puccini, you watch, like, it's statutory rape on stage, and how can you watch it again in 2026? You really can't. So like stage directors, you try to restage it. I mean, like, everything that's aristocratic becomes like bureaucratic, and all this is great, like all this is like great, but then like fundamentally, I thought that, like, I want to do something musically uh or value to it. So
Mm-hmm.
if doing that makes me political, by
Yeah.
putting it in 2026, then maybe I am. I don't know. And then with regard to updating pieces in this way, because I still use Bizet, but I kind of rearrange it a little bit with a modern twist. I changed the harmony, blah blah blah. Got killed by the French public for changing the harmony. Well, I guess I don't know. Go- it was, yeah. It's a very strange experience, but in terms of aesthetic as well, you kind of have to pick the right style. I'm not against stylistic usage of I mean, stylistic writing. How should I call this? Um, stylistic writing
Take your time.
appropriation. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Take your
how,
time. No
how,
worries.
I'm losing the words for it, but I guess you get my drift. Like it's not like I'm stuck in one new music aesthetic, right? I still have to, when doing that project, I still have to take into account that it's 19th century music with a certain harmonic progression going on. So I need to arrange it, like my role becomes that of an arranger when I have to bring in the music of the past, which is Bizet and the memory of it all. And so that's why I said aesthetics is kind of like a moot point, because it's not like I'm stuck. Like I'm like a, how like in France we have all this like noise music, like Chongqing would know, with Raphael Sendo and Yan Hoban and all these people.
Oh, he
It's
loves
one.
by
Mm-hmm.
Shendo. Or Megan, was it you that loved Shendo? Who's the one fan of Shendo here? One of you guys.
I, I
No.
did not like Chance Lindo. He
So
came
yeah,
to
anyway, yeah.
June to Buffalo many times.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, so there's like what I'm trying to say is like there's this like noise music people, and then there's all these spectralist people, and then you have all the neoclassical people. I'm not in any of those camp, I would think, because I'm not defending an aesthetic. I don't see the
Yeah,
point. So yeah, put me in the
but
political. I much prefer that because I see a
yeah.
point in saying things that need to be said about. Recently, I curated a whole program about well, I shouldn't say this because it's not how it's sold, but it's about transgenerational trauma. It's called Sous Notre Peau. So
Mhm.
it's a 1 hour concert, and we're talking about like how to use folk songs, bring it in, and I wrote a whole new piece about it. I wrote the text to it as well, and it's about our heritage and the trauma we hold within our own bodies, and then how to
Mhm.
just like articulate it, because it's for singers, um, and yeah. So I don't know. Labels are kind of dangerous. It terminates
Mhm.
thinking, you know. Um, yeah, I guess.
Do you find that like people want labels for your music?
Sorry?
Do you find that other people want to label your music in some manner?
Yeah, I mean, they labeled me. I came here and I was like, oh, composer, and that's it. Like, it's like, hey,
Yeah.
I can conduct, I can sing, I can do a lot of things. I can kind of play the piano, not as good as Chong Ting, but I can kind of play the piano. And but then they're like composer, and then like we want you as a composer,
Yeah.
and then I don't know, 15 years passed, and now it's like, oh yeah, yeah, she's a feminist, like oh, she's a like, come on, you believe in equal rights, you're a feminist too. uh and it's like, I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
labels sells things, and I am part of a music industry, um so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Because I find that a lot of times people really try to think of labels, and sometimes I feel like their lack of being able to do so sometimes misses me out on opportunities because they want to curate concerts with a particular label, and none of those particular labels I fit into. But then I also find when people spend so much time like trying to figure out labels, like I think, wow, that's like that's the least interesting thing that one can
Yeah,
maybe talk about music is
yeah,
just concerned with the labeling.
but maybe like I'm kind of, sometimes I think like that's my most evil genius move, is I think you can kind of control the narrative. um and I guess if you're, well, I don't have any other income, right? So I'm like a composer, so it's vital that I keep getting jobs in a way. So I feel like at some point I realized it's vital that I control the narrative. And so I've been proposing like the concert, sous notre peau. I propose to do extra arrangements, and I propose to help with the curation of it, because it's kind of like, if I just keep writing 10-minute pieces, then I'll just get slot in, right? But if I have full control of a show, then it's not just the piece that I'm controlling. It's the whole experience that I'm controlling. Uh, and I know it sounds like a dictatorship, or like I'm a control freak or anything, but it's not. It's really a question of how do you not risk your ideas being diluted or being slot in, so that it, I mean, come on, you put Diana Soh and then Mozart and Paganini after, it's like I'm, oh sorry, I was about to swear, but it's like, you're
Sure, do it.
yeah, yeah, it's like you're fucked
Mhm.
basically, right?
Mhm.
Doesn't make, and it makes no
Mhm.
sense. It makes absolutely no sense. But then if you can convince your producer or the theater director, say, hey, look, I can give you a convincing show. I know what you're trying to
Mhm.
articulate in this season, and this is your narrative arc. I'll give you 1 hour of this, um, plus the new commission that you want, and then I'm going to pull in all these things that, oh, like, I guess it's what we need to do in a way. Otherwise, it's a lose lose situation. right? Because they're taking a bet
Mhm.
on you. You don't know what a piece is going to sound like. No one knows what the piece is going to sound like, but you already know what the other pieces are going to sound like. So if
Mhm.
you already have a vague idea of what where you want to go, the story that you want to tell, or the concept that you want to throw out, and even though you're working on it, I think the co-curation process around it, uh, then kind of helps as well push your composition to be like in a tighter space,
Mhm.
and you don't lose you don't lose the thread throughout the entire the entire show as well, and then the audience benefits from it, and the performer benefits from it, and everybody benefits from it. um yeah, I'm kind of tired of those 10-minute pieces where I always start to ask the producers, like, okay, you want a 10-minute piece in 2 years, great, what's on your program, what's before me, what's after me. And it
Mhm.
annoys people when I do that sometimes, because it feels like, oh, what are you trying to do, you're trying to control me. I'm not trying to control you, I'm just trying to make sure that my piece has a fighting chance.
Yeah.
uh
I know
um
the orchestra kind of tradition, at least in Chicago, and I think a lot of other big cities, is the typical program
mm,
is they start with a piece of contemporary music,
yeah,
and then they usually go to a concerto, and then the second half is like a big symphony. Well,
right.
most people don't even bother showing up for the first half. Unless it's someone like really, really, really big for the concerto, maybe they'd show up for that part. But yeah, they don't even bother to show up. So it seems. I mean, I'm sure it has to do with their funding and
Yeah,
requirements they give their funders. But it just seems, wow, there could be a more useful
yeah,
use of like all those musicians. Yeah.
it's just badly curated. It with bad in a way, it's badly curated. That point, c'est point, badly curated, because the person that did that or continues to do that, I mean, you're shortchanging the composer. I mean, they're thinking like, probably thinking we're idiots. I don't know. Uh,
Hmm.
and that we don't know music history. I mean, okay, given there are composers that don't know music history, and I guess that's fine, depending on what they do. Not judging here, but I mean, like, if you're doing like a symphonic concert, then the assumption is, if you're of a certain level, or if you're worth something, that they could actually come into a discussion with the composer, who's not trying to ruin the entire concert, and just trying to see, like, okay, how can we create an experience that is rewarding for the symphonic audience, for the composer, and not just pay lip service to the fact that you need to hit certain KPIs to get funding from X,
Mm.
Y, and Z, and all these things. It's like the whole uh, ecology of concert making and curating. I mean, it needs to change. I guess it's slowly changing. Europe's not that bad, to be honest, but it's still slow.
Yeah.
So I'm very passionate about this, because it is what I do on a daily basis, and these are the people that I interact with, and a lot of them um,
Yeah.
have good intentions. So I think it's quite rare these days, where I am, to have what you're saying, Megan. But I totally understand that. I grew up in that system where you have like the new music
Hmm.
overture, and then you have a concerto, and then you have like the symphonic piece, and it's like,
Hmm.
um, they think it sells tickets, but what if you do something
No,
different?
those. I mean, at least I know in Chicago, the seats are way, way more empty than they were 20 years ago. Like significantly, they're not selling seats, and a lot of those seats that they are selling are people who realistically won't be around in 20 years because they're elderly.
Yeah. So I mean, they have to reopen the target group. Like, a lot of things
Mm.
has to change, and in a way, as composers, we are creators, and we can help. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, they just need to start believing that we can help, and yeah, I guess that's a that's a work opportunity for us as well.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, we can't just see composing as just an act of like writing that 10-minute piece. We have to see it
Hmm.
as a contextualizing of that 10-minute piece as well in a larger context of first the concert and then, I mean, space-time continuum, whatever, that would be our own personal issue
Hmm.
with, well, me, myself, and I. Yeah. But yeah, it's very interesting. This is a very interesting domain. Um, it's a very frustrating domain. I think I'm the most frustrated by that.
Well, yes, I think it has to do with honesty in a way, and being, and it kind of like what you were saying about curating and controlling the narrative. It takes me to that point that kind of was discussed behind the scenes about truth in the arts. What is the truth that you want to convey? What is honesty? Artistic integrity? How do you portray that? And you are proposing uh, a solution in a way through curating it better, curating the whole experience as a more cohesive one that is more fair, just or something similar. Would you say that?
More fair? What do you mean? What did
Uh,
you?
so like through curating, through controlling the narrative, you kind of make it you level the playing field and make it more honest in a way. And that has to do with the truth in a way. Well, it depends on different levels of truth. Like, but it's in the sense that isn't dishonest. It isn't artificial. It isn't like, okay, here's your 5 minutes, 10 minutes piece. That is just a placeholder for a new composer to have it on, to say that we are uh, supporting new music, etc., etc. But what you're proposing here is that we composers also take a more active role in the curating aspect, that we are not doing that enough, right?
Are we allowed to do that? I mean, I've been very lucky,
Mhm.
Um, I've been very lucky where I am, and how I mean, yeah, to have a chance to do that, like, yeah.
Mhm.
But sometimes we're not allowed to do that because people don't give us the chance. But if the chance do come by, I think we should do that.
But
Because yeah, what you're saying is about the truth of it all. It's really, are we able to give the audience the most authentic experience of what we intend for it to be, right? Because like you said, I mean, you're probably all sick of the placeholder pieces as well. Because like, oh, then you're replaceable. Like, I'm replaceable by Megan. Megan's replaceable by Juan's replaceable by Chong Ting. Doesn't and you could go on forever.
goes against the spirit of what at least I believe art is supposed to be, right? Like art is supposed to be some like the ultimate expression of the individual, for example, and kind of like to make it like that is like it loses a lot. It's plenty of like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's probably one of the things that is very frustrating and maybe disheartening at times is that, us as composers, we can easily spend months and months, sometimes years, on a piece. And maybe the piece is only, 10 or 20 minutes. But that's like a huge chunk of our time and our life. And then it's just, played and then done with,
Mhm.
and not really done so in a carefully thought out way.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
kind
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
totally think so. Do you have anything to add about this shunting, about this topic? Authenticity, let's say truth or artistic integrity, all of that is kind of related, I would say.
I just suddenly remember a performance last year in April when when like when a concert organized by the Composers Guild in Hong Kong featured like pieces written for the call for score, and then pieces are the pieces didn't share any like common theme or ideas. They are just like very different pieces. And I'm not saying that any piece from the program was like out of place, but sometimes the experience like that was not the most satisfying because they don't form like a very comfortable like environment or atmosphere. Yeah,
Mm. It's like a buffet platter, right?
right. Yeah, like
Yeah.
salad, like a big bowl of salad. You don't know which ingredient is better. Yeah.
Just throwing, yeah, throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks, right?
So
That's pretty
all
much it.
ingredients can be good, but sometimes they don't just work together very well. Or maybe the order of the pieces are usually not very lot like well thought.
Mm. Wasn't
Programming
it?
and all of
Wasn't
that.
it our teacher that said if you put Feldman? It's like I don't remember if maybe I'm making this up. I can't remember if I had this conversation with David or someone else, but probably him. Like why would Feldman write such long pieces?
Hmm.
Because if can you imagine if you put like Feldman next to Xenakis,
Oh, yeah.
Especially
right?
the later works, especially. Yeah.
Like Feldman would just die, right? I mean, like program wise, if you think about it, like you hear Xenakis and you hear Feldman, and you think like, oh my god, Feldman sucks. Kind of something like that. But I'm paraphrasing because it's been so long. But I think it was
Depends on what you're looking for in your music, I will say, but I would agree. Yeah,
But
Xenakis
that
will
means,
kill
yeah.
Fairman. Yeah,
Xenakis Feldman can be, it can be challenging for a lot of listeners because it isn't flashy in any way.
yeah. So you put
Yeah.
Xenakis, you put Feldman, Feldman dies. So I think it's curation. And so like yeah, the whole salad buffet Hong Kong Guild composer thing. I mean, it should be completely avoided. Unless it's like a student composer concert context, then it's kind of like you don't really have a choice. But you could also insert some sort of a there could be interlude, or it could be something could be done, like the composer. I don't know, not every composer is articulate. I was about to say, oh, composer come out and speak, but
Mhm.
we've seen our colleagues speak. I would say not every one of us is should be talking on stage.
No, and that's not necessary. Sometimes it's just like I think that some composers just I, for example, have seen myself like pushed towards that, but I would prefer not to speak about my music and let the music speak for itself towards the people, and that the people interpret it in the way that they may. Like, okay, it means this to you in relation to the title, then I am one that hates writing program notes, for example. But
But it's not about that. What I'm trying to say is that the whole concert experience, I mean, like, come on, we're 2026. What are we competing against? We're competing against like Netflix, Apple
Mhm.
TV, Instagram, like all these algorithms that are like giving us dopamine hits. Like our attention span is largely reduced. So when we're in this concert setting, like already, I mean, like it's kind of like a win. People are already in the room, right? But then when they're in the room, I mean, we need to give them like a honest to God kind of experience that is what they'll do with their 1 hour in that room. And so something needs to be done. I mean, we can say that, okay, I really want people to just like take the piece as it is, but it is an experience, a paid experience, and I guess it is in a way our job. And to just say that we are in charge of that 10 minutes and then someone else is in charge of the other 10 minutes, like who the hell is holding the sequence of the 10 minutes together, you know what I mean?
Mm,
because
Yeah.
conductors don't think that way, not necessarily. And it's an artistic responsibility that belongs to someone. Why not the composer? So that your precious 10 minutes, which you spend like more than 10 minutes writing, maybe 10
mhm.
years writing, is not just like snapped up, Like, I
It's
hate being in the Feldman of the situation. Do you know what I mean?
what you're talking about is the concept of gravitas. How dense is gravitas? Do you know the concept? It's a kind of like how dense is a concept or the presence of a work. How impactful is that presence upon your time? Let's put it that way. And that presence should be impactful in that it really uh, like accounts for those 10 minutes in not in chronological time but in psychological time, like it's a density, a profundity that is found within that chronological time, so to speak. I don't know if you are following me or not.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm following you. But I think I'm a little bit more. I'm a little bit more basic than that. A bit more practical.
Yeah,
You
okay.
bought you bought a ticket. It's worth. It's worth. I'm making sure it's worth your $10, basically. No,
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing,
sorry.
but I guess that I'm overcomplicating myself with all of
No,
this.
no, I'm no, I'm not. Yeah.
I'm overcomplicating the discourse. Anyway, what I wanted to discuss last to close this conversation between everyone will be a follow up to that. Like, what would you guys consider to be a successful work of art, a successful composition? What is it? why do you why do you hide your face like that, Diana? It's
I
like,
don't know. You tell me. What do you think is a successful piece of music?
oh, it would be in art in general. It's something that stays with you, that not only makes you feel something in the moment, not some only that something that moves you in the moment. It's something that makes you think about it afterwards, over and over, and you cannot explain why, and you are trying to figuring it out even days or weeks later, and it's like kind of like that unknowable aspect of the music, of the composition itself, that kind of like, for me at least, are the most intriguing works, are the ones that have influenced me the most, are the ones that I go back and listen to over and over and try to study over and over again, and there's always something that kind of escapes me and I cannot explain why or what is it. That would be my explanation. What about you guys?
So when you're sorry,
Yeah.
I'm starting
Okay,
to be awake.
question me about it then. What is
No,
it?
I'm starting to be more awake, and I have this like, I have to say when you're talking about it, it's like, oh my god, he's talking about trauma,
Trauma?
trauma.
Well, yeah. Basically. That's what,
Basically, a successful piece of music has to traumatize you.
yes. Don't you think? In a good way. In a good way. Let's put it that
Mm.
way. It's kind of like you cannot stop thinking about it. Why is it this like this? Why is the order like this? Why
So is
has
that a successful piece of music, like as a listener, or that's what you consider a successful piece of
as a listener,
one
as
of
a
you?
work like work of,
So not your music. That's not how you gauge your own music.
and not even music, works of art that I keep questioning and thinking about, and kind of like I don't know why. It's kind of like I keep coming back to that. What, like, oh, I was fascinated by this scene in this movie or by this cinematography or photography. Why? Then again, it might be
Hmm.
trauma in the worst way possible, and I'm just a very sick individual, as you implied. I don't know.
No, not
I'm
you as
just
an
curious.
individual, but you're when you're describing what you're saying, you could if you just if you think about it, right, you do the playback, you could be also describing a traumatic experience. That's what I'm saying. But we're all traumatized by something, I would guess. That's how you go into adulthood, I guess. But it's interesting this question because it's like intrigue and I mean you could be intrigued by unsuccessful works of art.
Okay,
No,
sure. In what way would you describe? What would you say?
because like you could see like this horrendous. Let's see. Oh God, there is by no means any judgment. This is going back to Buffalo Days. I once performed with Alison Knowles, and she has a piece called Onion Skin, and you know the whole Fluxus uh, background that she has with Cage and everything. And so if you don't know the piece was she came. She's a really lovely lady, by the way, but she came out with a bag of onion skin and salon wrap. What do you call it? The plastic film. And
Yes,
so
saran wrap.
yeah, yeah. And so we had one rehearsal with her, and during the rehearsal, she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna just stretch out. You're gonna, stretch out salon wrap, and then you're gonna throw onion skins on it, and you're gonna wrap it up, and then you're gonna hold it up, and you're gonna sing." And I was like, "Sing what?" And she was like, "Sing the onion skins." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So we would just like sing the onion skins, and that was the piece. And it's not really a successful piece of art, if you
Hmm.
want to, in my book. But I've been talking about the piece, and I've been obsessed about it in like like you, intrigued by it
But
until today.
it traumatized you in a bad way or in a good
No,
way.
no, no. I was just sorry, sorry about the bad joke, but that's what I mean. Like you could be
I didn't
completely
take it personal. So
enthralled by the experience, or intrigued by it, or traumatized by it, but it's not necessarily an artful or successful construction for someone else. Like for me, it's not an artful construction, but the whole experience of performing it, or just witnessing it, or just the whole concept of it. I mean, I'm still thinking about it today, but I don't. I really don't think it's a successful piece of art
I wanted to
in
add
that
that
sense.
also something that inspires you to write, to be a better composer, to be a
Mm,
better artist is also another way in which I gauge if a work of art has been successful. Wanted to add
mm.
that out there. How about you, Shanting? How about you, Megan? What do you think about that question?
I mean, I think it's very different if I'm talking about like whether I think my music, my work is successful, um, or if I'm a concert goer thinking, oh, is this work successful? Um, I, because like for me, I feel like the whole experience plays. I think my work is very personal, and I put a lot of myself into it. So if I feel very engaged with the performer, I feel um, energetic. I feel like there was a really positive collaboration, that I'm gonna feel successful about the work, even if maybe it might not have been the best written work. And I have other works that I probably would consider not successful, and I feel like the not successful part in the particular works I'm thinking about are that the work didn't match the performer. Um, and in some cases, I should have known better. Um, and I had all the info to know that, but I was, really interested in something. I just wrote it anyway. And maybe if that piece was presented for a different scenario, it could theoretically be successful. But like, yeah, it's all these lineup of events. As a listener, I think I want. I mean, I wanted to hear. I like to hear. I want to hear something I haven't heard before, something new, and not just like a new sound or a new extended technique. That doesn't really interest me very much because the newness wears off in seconds. Um, I want to hear, I guess, a new way of thinking about ideas, and I like to hear pieces that do have a lot of personality. Um, yeah, to engage my attention in that way. And I think I am very particular. I try to go to a lot of music concerts, and I would say I think I do hear some really great pieces, but I hear more pieces that I don't enjoy and I wouldn't find successful than I hear pieces that I would. Um, at least here in I in the Chicago area.
So I think both of you kind of see a work of art being successful, kind of based on uniqueness, on individuality, on personality too.
Yeah, I mean, as a composer, like I feel like composition, no matter how what kind of music you write, it's really time consuming and really hard. Uh, Even if you're just like emulating another style, it's still a lot of physical and mental labor. And I think I'm lazy that like if I have a piece that I wish to hear, but that piece already exists or somebody else is willing to write that piece for me, then like I'm gonna let them and I'm gonna enjoy I'm gonna enjoy that music without doing any work. But like if no one's gonna write the piece that I want to hear, then I'm gonna have to write it and put the work.
Hmm. Okay. How about you, Shanti?
Honestly, I don't really have an answer for
No?
this question, right? Because it's a really tough question. Success can exist in like too many forms, too many shapes. Yeah.
Well, let's reframe it. When does a work of art impacts you particularly?
Yeah, maybe an impactful work is a successful work. As a creator myself, maybe I feel like if I try really hard and then the experience is successful for me, maybe I don't get a lot of like positive review, but at least I try that, then I will feel successful for myself. Maybe a piece I like, then I will find that piece successful, but maybe somebody don't find that piece successful. I don't really have an answer for this question, but maybe when I was younger, maybe I will feel like, oh, one, maybe if this piece was awarded for whatever prize and that piece was successful, and then and long time ago, a composer that I personally know wrote a string quartet, got an award for that, and then the piece was performed in whatever city, and then I didn't attend that concert, and then and I believe the piece was a truly successful, masterful piece, whatever. And then I asked a friend who resided in that city, how's going the concert? And then my friend was a very kind person, but also very honest. He said, "Oh, well, listen, I wanted to throw up." He used such a strong word, and so I felt so. In this instance, I felt like, okay, success can really exist, can in many forms. Some people see themselves successful because they get some kind of award, but somehow it may not be true. So I don't know. I don't have an answer, but I
Yeah.
of course I have some like more. I of course some pieces I like more, some pieces I like
Mhm.
less. Yeah, I also have some pieces that I wrote. I believed it was pretty good, but later on I don't like that piece. It happens quite a bit, but at the same time I would feel that okay, the experience of writing a piece is still in my heart, and I really cherish that experience, that moment, and somehow it is successful in some way. Maybe I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
there are lots of projects I believe for for all of you too. A lot of projects that may mean a lot to you, and then you really try very hard,
Hmm.
and then no matter how the review come out, you still like the piece, and then you will see that it is like a success, or at least like a triumph, or like a personal triumph, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I find it very hard to define success in the work of arts. To be honest, like uh, uh maybe 2 weeks ago, I talked with a friend because I I wrote some fictions, and then my friend studied literature, and I talked to him. Oh, and then he brought out an idea like, what about J.K. Rowling? J.K. Rowling is a very best-selling author, but so she is very successful. So is Stephen King successful then? Oh yeah, very successful. And then but I then am I successful? Not very successful, right? But somehow I am also successful in the sense that okay, I finish a fiction then somehow maybe, yeah. So
Hmm.
I think it's we have a lot of like alternatives when we talk about like success, right? We have a lot of other
Yeah,
work.
for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully
Yeah, because I mean,
we
it's
can succeed in some way, of course. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, because it's also like, do we consider success like winning awards and having a lot of press and having a lot of performances? Like, I mean, that is a certain type of success. Um, but it's also like another type of success to have a work that's very powerful to even one or two other people. Like that, if it's because I mean, I've had musical experiences as a listener, a handful, not a lot. You know, I have a few performances that I don't think will ever leave me. And I remember, listening to them, and just feeling totally engaged and captivated. Like I remember actually the first time I remember I heard Xenakis's music, I was probably like 18 or 19. I was totally like invigorated. I'd never heard anything like that. And I mean, it was so exciting and so thrilling. And I mean, obviously, he's a successful composer by a lot of other means, but like, I mean, if he was just a no name, if it was just a no name composer and I had that experience or somebody had that experience with one of my pieces, even if it was one person, I would find that very successful because it's like, do we only value people in like, in the mass, or is like each individual? Because I realize that my music is, it doesn't maybe appeal to a huge mass, but I also don't think that we're as unique as anyone's unique as they think they are. That like if this is music that I enjoy and I want to hear, that there and isn't there, that there are other people that might also feel that same way, even if it's a small minority.
Yeah, this word really it trips people up because when you say success, you think of all the bling bling, right? And it's
Hmm.
highly related to money. I guess so.
Hmm.
When you're asking this, I was like, oh my god, are we going there? Because I I I I don't think I ever thought about it. Like I mean, if a work of art is successful only when it's monetized, then or like when it can be making a lot of money, then I think we're all like very unsuccessful musicians.
In that sense, yeah, but I think that I frame it that way with this wording of successful just to see all of the answers and the answers that each and see how the conversation will go.
Mm.
And it yielded some very interesting points to think about. Like, what is success in art? Like, is it when its intention is fulfilled? Is it when it stays with you, is it just other stuff? Like, yeah, it's yeah. I just wanted to see what everyone's mind will come up with over here. So, and I think that it was this. The question
Mhm.
was successful in that sense.
Yeah, it's provoking. It's really provoking in a way. And I think it's a question of value. Like I value quite a bit of like craft. So I mean nothing against the whole conceptual art fluxus movement stuff, of course, when I gave my example of Alison Knowles. There's nothing against that. Nothing against being in the moment. But I do value like a house well built, and I think a lot of the pieces, like a few days ago, I heard a piece by Philippe Leroux in the French radio station, and I didn't think I didn't think the choir sang as well as they should. Oops, sorry, but you could hear the whole construction of it. Even though the material was not like super highly in your face, but I value that. And I was like, oh my god, that's like an amazing piece. And then obviously the reception was kind of like not like standing ovation or anything. But when I heard the piece, I was like, oh okay, construction and craft and things that you can be objective about. And then obviously there's the whole layer of what you are subject, the subjective stuff that we are inclined to like or not like. But of course, if we take away uh this ability to craft something, right? Then what's the point of spending countless hours with the material, or writing it down, and then we become completely obsolete, right?
Or studying it
So
for
so
years,
yeah,
years and years.
so that's what I value in a work of art. That I need to see craft of some sort, or some sort of uh, structural thinking alongside the emotion and everything else that makes us human, I guess. But someone else might value something, something else, like like a guy
Chuck,
on his mixing board might value how many likes he gets. I don't know. Yeah, could be
Chuck,
anything.
the
Yeah,
bling bling, shock, shock
the bling
value.
bling.
I
Yeah,
still I
the
still
bling
like
bling.
the bling bling, but
Yes.
but this is not the only thing, right? I yeah, craft or whether a work is meaningful, if not to everyone, at least to ourselves, maybe. This I believe it is very important too. Yeah. At least for
Yeah,
me, when I want to compose a piece, I don't want to see an opportunity like, oh, because this opportunity may help me earn a lot of money. I was want to see, okay, I want to work on this because if this project will mean a lot to me, I would I tend to think in such a way. Yeah.
Hmm, hmm.
yeah. It's when you lose personal meaning, then you fall into burnout. Take it from an expert.
Well, I think it's been a very productive conversation that's gone like almost for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I really we really thank you, Diana, for taking this time
Yes, it's
uh,
been great.
to
Oh,
talk
this
with
has been
us and
fun.
share your thoughts and all of that. We know that it's late over there and that it's not easy for you to schedule and all of that. So
No, it's
I
great.
really
I feel 15 years younger.
yeah,
Instantly,
I know.
15 years younger, just like, being in the same four squares.
it's good to know. Good to know that you got something out of this too. Well, everybody wins. Everybody wins. Wins, 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 wins. But anyway, any closing thoughts from you, Diana, or from anybody else about?
I think it's great. I think it's great that you guys are doing this because I mean you just let it out there. You don't know who's watching on the internet, but somewhere somehow, yeah, it might resonate with people, when you talk about the non-musical music things. Mm,
Yeah.
Thank you. Those
yeah.
are kind of encouraging words for continuing along with this project that who knows how many people, who knows if
Yeah.
it is successful. Right? Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Ah,
I mean, it's been successful for me personally just because it keeps me engaged with you guys, and it keeps me engaged with art and contemporary music. Um, yeah, it's been great having you on, and I've enjoyed getting to know some of your more recent music more this last couple weeks.
Oh, thanks for listening. We hardly
Yeah,
talk about the music though. We talk about a lot of things.
I
yeah,
know.
all of those points, all of those talking points were like,
Mm.
okay, well, we could do a follow up at, at some
So
point and go through
where
each of them in a strict manner, in a very
yeah.
formal manner with a good structure, like you guys have described.
I'll be prepared.
And where's the best way, like for listeners, if they want to hear more of your music? Is it
Oh
Uh,
yeah, let me
like a
put the
YouTube or your website or?
yeah, I'll try to update my website as much as I can. Usually I can so much, but I think the next performance is hang on. The next performance is a live stream because I wrote a piece
Oh,
for,
great.
yeah, for this competition. It's an orchestral conducting competition called La Maestra, and it will be at the Philharmonie de Paris. And you have amazing women conductors. It's a conducting competition for women conductors, and it's live streaming end of the month at on the 27th and the 28th. I think that's the semifinals and the finals. And so I wrote a piece called Au fil du geste. It's only 5 minutes, but they get to do something contemporary. And then they also do Petrushka. So I don't know why they asked me to write a piece when they're already conducting Petrushka. It's
Petrushka
amazing.
Yeah.
open or kind of
The
like
whole issue of curating again.
No, no, I think it's like a mine's in the afternoon or something, and then Petrushka's at night. So it's like they're
Okay,
conducting
that's
two different
nice. That's
orchestras.
good.
And then I think there's probably they it's like a you have to pull out of a hat like a draw. You have to draw lots what you're conducting. So there's also Beethoven. I think there's Ravel as well. Um, I should know this better, but I'm really excited for the women because it's amazing. There were like I think 200, almost 300 applicants, and they're down to I don't want to say bullshit again, but it's probably about eight of them, or 8 or 16. I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember. But yeah, so
Are there other contemporary orchestra works, or is yours the only one among classics?
mine's the only one. Yeah,
Oh, that's very
yeah,
cool.
but I'm not sure I did a very contemporary job.
Well, I mean, it's contemporary because you're living in present now.
Yeah, but contemporary in the sense like there's no like weird noises because when I was writing, I was like, oh, I was focused on doubling things and just chords, uh, which is which is kind of weird. Like I don't know. Anyways, so that's what's coming up next. And if you're in
Great.
London, I have something on the 25th as well in Leeds. It's a that's really contemporary. It's a piece called Unbroken, for soprano and flute, and the whole piece is like gesture based and very contemporary techniques. Hardly any sound, hardly any singing. So
Okay.
yeah,
this goes back to
Awesome.
the aesthetics question that we discussed like who knows like an hour ago or so, but yeah, it's kind of like aligns with what you kind of like talked about aesthetics and all of that, so it's pretty nice. It's kind of like circular, all of this,
Yeah.
right?
yes. And on that note, I'm going to bed.
Yes,
Thank
it's been a great
you so
conversation.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
Jenna.
you guys. Have a good
It's
evening.
great to see
And
you.
yeah,
Be
it's
well.
really great to see you.
Bye.
Peace out. Bye.
Bye.